Yeah, these smell amazing already. Vegetables cooking up there.
Yeah, it's a shame we don't have smell-o-vision yet. Folks, welcome home. Here we are at the magnificent Shakers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and another issue of the Flash in the Pan Cooking with Prawns. Today we have Lynzi with us, and we're doing a knockoff on a Cajun shrimp, and of course we have our spinach shakers with that. So the first thing, Lynzi, I want you to cut down some of these chilies and these lovely tomatoes, and let me just show you how we do things here.
Okay.
So I like people to have a bridge first with the fingers. You probably know this, so you don't cut your fingertips off.
Yes.
So this down, the onion down, and it's all going to go right in this pan.
Okay.
Now in that pan, I'm going to take some duck fat. You can use anything you want for a fat. I like duck fat for this because it's very close to what you typically would find in the bayou. And because we're doing something Cajun as opposed to pure Creole, I want more of a Cajun-esque kind of a flavor going on with that. So there's our duck fat. It's gonna work itself away. All sorts of milky goodness. Looks like we're a little off kilter right now, so I'm just gonna give that a little boost up and a leveled field. Now in this plate, I have taken some cayenne, some paprika, a little Greek oregano, kosher salt, Tell cherry black pepper, granulated garlic, and maybe a little more cayenne as well. I'm just gonna go right here, gonna mix that together, make a real simple Cajun blend. There's no set formula for this. Use what you think you want to push for flavors. This is what we like at Shakers. So that's real simple. Then we get these done. I'm going to take a bench knife like this.
Are these too thick?
Nope,
or?
that's
Okay,
on. Perfect size, perfect size. You're doing great. Leave our seeds in there as well, because again, we're very rustic and Cajun with this. And people ask me frequently, what's the difference between a Cajun and a Creole style? Well, in many ways, they're almost the same thing. One has very definite French roots. That's the Creole system. That's more of the city style that you get. And Cajun is more of the rustic, the bayou style. So they use coarser ingredients, anything that they can grab from the bayou, hence the duck fat that we're using right here.
Duck fat, interesting.
Duck fat, why not? So in this little blend, again, this could be a Cajun or a Creole because the flavors are consistent on both styles. And what I'll begin to do is to take these shrimp, and these are Gulf shrimp. That's all we use at Shakers, are Gulf shrimp. And the size is a U10. You know what that means?
U10, I do not.
It means under 10 per pound.
Okay.
So typically what you get around in Milwaukee is something like that 21 to 25. So occasionally it's 16 to 20, but a much smaller shrimp.
Okay.
And the size is important because you get a completely different flavor, different texture with these guys than you do with the smaller shrimp. But you know, shrimp at the end of the day is still a shrimp. And we frequently talk about these are shrimp and not prawns, and one way to tell the difference is that a shrimp has a longer body to it than a prawn, which has a wider beam, and these are also exposed swimmerettes because they're generally deeper water, whereas the skeleton comes down further on a prawn because they're generally into shallow water.
You want these finely chopped?
Nope,
or?
that looks really good just the way it is. Cool. Now to get you exposed to shucking shrimp,
Teach me your ways.
I want you to start working on some of these guys. They have 6 of these beauties right here. What I tell people is, you know, the tail section into the palm of your hand.
Okay.
And in 2 or 3 motions, generally, you can pull these up and just peel away.
Okay.
And the swimmerettes all come off as well.
And we're leaving the tail on?
Leaving the tail section on. Who doesn't love that tail section?
Yes.
So, please have at that. I'm going to juice this a little bit.
And your spices, you said, pretty much any type of flavor that you want?
Yeah, we do our own spice blends at Shakers, and that goes along with our line of food products, Babalu's Foods, that we've sold internationally for decades. So just like that, to smash these things down, and then I'm just going to coarsely chop this as well, and give it just a little more push. So something like that. Use a bench knife or your hand, either way is fine. Get those in. The reason I don't start the garlic on the front side of that is because I don't want that to burn. So we start the other components and they're going to cook down. The cellulose and fibers will break down. We have a green bell pepper here. And I know some of you are going to say, my God, that green bell pepper has seen better days. Look at that. The reality is that once you get into the bayou, once you get into Mexico, South America, you will find that almost always are using fruit that is a little more mature, a little bit wilty looking, but has great flavors because there's an enzyme action that takes place that expands the flavor profile.
Do you have any favorite places around here to get your vegetables from?
I really like that. It's a great question. Thanks for asking. I like the farmers market in West Dallas.
Okay.
And I've used them forever. And Cindy's Produce in particular has marvelous things like these. These are heirloom tomatoes. Isn't that pretty?
Wow, those are very pretty. It's a very nice color.
So just, again, coarse sections on this.
So pretty big and chunky sections.
Big and chunky because we're doing Cajun style.
Yeah.
This is a green tomato. Now we could do a whole separate series just on fried green tomatoes. They're in season right now, and obviously they're a tomato, but they taste much different than, say, this heirloom does.
Yeah, it's definitely very unique looking.
And it has a kind of a chewy texture to it as well, but a different citrusy component that naturally is there. You almost think there's lemon there, but there's not. So we're going to have this just big, mighty thing that's going to cook down a little bit by itself. You got these done. The next step is a little maintenance there. We're going to take these, and you are going to cut these. So there's two ways to do this. You can lay this on a bench, and you can line up and right about halfway through, go about a 1/4 inch in, like that.
Okay.
Or you can do that free-handed, whichever you prefer, but that's how deep we want that slit to be, okay?
Wow, that's really very nice meat.
There you go. So that, I'm going to go right in there. In this pan, before you got here today, I put together a mock chow. Lovely.
Perfect.
So a mock chow is, again, traditionally a French Creole dish. Corn is everywhere in Louisiana. So we're going to take this, and it's just simple red pepper that I've already sauteed this off with, and lightly seasoned, a little bit of garlic, salt and pepper. Mostly it's the corn that drives this dish. So back that down a little bit, and that is going to be our starch component to go along with our Cajun garlic shrimp.
Corn fits well with a lot of things, actually. It's a very, very nice side dish.
And it's seasonal.
Yes, for sure.
All right, so we can get rid of this guy. And take these, and we're going to toss them around. You could do this the night ahead of time for even more flavor.
Okay. Let
So-
them sit and marinate a little.
Yep. So at this point, after you get the flavors in, and make sure they're in the center as well, give it a dab, and we're just going to let them sit on the bench for the moment. So we
Okay.
can do that. So make sure that on the inside. And part of this whole concept with the flash of the pan is to make things quick and easy. You don't need a lot of preparation time. We didn't have our prep cooks in here making any of these components. We're doing everything right here for you.
Very quick and easy if you're in a flash or something.
As it were. Yep. So we typically do things like a tasso, which is a Cajun style of cured ham. We do andouilles, things like that as well. Different flavors, and you just create different boundaries and just expand the flavors out, and that's really a neat thing to do. So we're almost ready for those. So we're gonna get our speed back up on this. So
Oh, those are looking
the tomatoes are so
marvelous.
nice. We're not looking to cook everything down. We want to get just them to break them a little bit, break that texture, expand the flavors, and that is just going to be phenomenal to go along with this.
Get all those layers of stuff in there.
Yep. Now I'm going to grab another pan. You don't have to, but we're going to. And with this pan, we're going to take out most of these things. You can use a pair of tongs, or you can just use something like that as well. Okay? So that is
Save
just
the
going
dishes a little later.
to rest on the side. So this is primarily duck fat in here. You're going to take just a little olive oil just for another fat. You can use butter as well. Anything you like. And then these you're going to set up in the pan, so you work the radius of the pan. First push them down to get kind of that oil kind of goodness going on, and then launch them like that so they have the curvature of the pan side.
Okay.
Have at it.
Yeah, this is unique. I've never... Like that?
Yep. And then if you put the next ones on the other side of the pan, that equals out the heat distribution, basic
Gonna work them
thermodynamics.
around there.
There you go.
Wow, these smell amazing already. Those vegetables cooking up there.
Yeah, it's a shame we don't have smell-o-vision yet, but one day. So not quite yet. We got about, the entire cooking process is 3 to 4 minutes. That's
Okay.
all that is.
It's not bad
So
at all.
this is done as well, because you just want to get this, up to temperature, up to speed. And these are just about that point that we can turn these over, that the inside has turned.
Wow.
So have at it.
Just on their sides?
Yep.
Oh
And you can
my
jiggle with
goodness.
this hand, you can jiggle the pan as well. And after we make our next turn, I'm going to want you to take the produce that's here and put that on top of the shrimp. And we'll let that just kind of simmer together for a moment.
Right now?
No, not yet.
Next turn? Okay.
So we got about a minute to go on this side, and turn them over
Okay,
till the
then
next side gets done. You could do these on the grill, you could do these in an oven, you can do these any way. And the more you and I cook together, I'll show you much different ways to do the same dish.
Okay. It's fascinating, all the ways you can do stuff to layer the flavors.
So there's a real misnomer about cooking in the north, and I honestly mean this. Anything north of the Mason-Dixon line, people don't appreciate how to work with spices.
Yes.
And the concept is that if you can't make it good, make it hot. Well, you know, we're not putting extra hot sauce in here. You can if you want it that way. I prefer that to be really on the back side, used as a garnish or treatment on the back side of the dish. We're about at that point. You can turn them over one more time, which should be our last turn then.
Wow.
And the other thing we're looking for is to have these done, but not overdone, so like they're latex. You could throw them against the wall, they'll bounce back at you.
See, they're starting to curl up.
Yep. So you can turn the heat off as well if you want.
Wow, those are beautiful color.
So push this button and turn our heat off.
And then do you want the veggies on top? Or?
Yep, I do. Cool. Now we have a simple remoulade that we make, and remoulade is really just nothing more than a really high quality mayonnaise and some mustard, a good mustard, a few spices.
Adds more flavors.
More
to
flavors. So you can do, you know, you can write your initial on here if you want. You can do almost anything you want to have. I'll go with the B for Bob. And what we're going to do now is to take our corn, the mak chao, and pick this up. And you want to drain that just a little bit.
Okay. Get the juices at the bottom.
And that's just simply going to go like that. So you can make a, I don't know, a little bar of that there. Okay? So please.
Want more? Or
No,
is
that's
that
pretty good.
good amount?
You don't want to overwork that plate either. So this will put back up here. We'll take this guy then and just take our shrimp. And you can just kind of arrange them this way. Nestle them all together as if you're tucking them into bed.
Touching in the bed.
Well, this would be a cool presentation.
Do you want some more on the other side? Or?
No, you know, have it your way. That's why we're cooking with you.
Okay.
Otherwise, we can just put them straight across this way, or you can lay them on their sides. Anything you want to do. I like an up presentation. It has more energy to it, and this is all great. Now we got that
veggies.
lovely thing right over there. And what should we do with that? What I would like to do with that, because I want people to enjoy this and eat this, we get a little bit to pour right down the center. There goes our B. Should have made an L instead.
L and B.
Maybe the next dish.
Lynzi.
So something like that. I like to take just a little bit of salt, just a little bit like that. And there you are. So a Cajun garlic shrimp. Took us less than 10 minutes to do that. Smile for the camera. Here we are.
Those are amazing.
Folks, you can do this at home, and I hope that you do. Cook for yourselves, cook for your family. It's not integral that you follow a specific recipe, and that's the thing that we try to push on every one of these videos. Make it your own. Do what you want to do. If you like more of something, absolutely.
Yes, very much so.
So cool. Lynzi,
Wow.
your first job. Thank you very much.
so much. Wow, this
Shall we do
smells
another?
Amazing. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Of
Why don't we
course.
take a minute first, and we'll have you taste one of those,
Okay.
and talk about what you're tasting and how much you absolutely can't live without it.
I'm going to get a little bit of everything. There's try and get some of that. Some corn in there. Oh my god. That is amazing. The juiciness of the corn. Wow.
This is a dish you can get every day at Shaker's. I hope you come down and experience for yourselves, work your way through the menu, work your way through things that aren't even on the menu. Want to do some salmon next, or do you want to do...
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so
Wow.
we'll do a Cajun dusted salmon.
The juiciness of that shrimp is amazing.
Marvelous.
Yes, and the veggies add a nice little crispy touch to it, very much so.
Cool.
Wow.
All right, one dish down.
There we go.
Folks, thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed this segment and look forward to seeing you for the next one. Cheers.